Let's talk about the Chiefs, who had
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes sit and develop, which was beautiful. And now they're they are where they are. They've been dealing with these off the field issues. The Butker thing, fine, but like the Rashee Rice thing, their car crash back in March. Where do we stand with him as that position, just X's and O's wise, is so important to this squad?
Yeah, we can say it's important, but they didn't have any receivers last year and they won the Super Bowl. But they got better receivers now and the room's better. With Rashee Rice, where it stands right now is there's not a whole lot of movement in terms of the legal process at this moment, to my understanding. Now, he can go to OTAs. He was there. He can attend these workouts. He can participate. The Chiefs, to my understanding, are expecting MK to be suspended for a number of games. However many number of games are, they don't know that right now. Obviously, none of us do. We'll probably all find out at about the same time when the legal process goes through and the NFL's investigation goes through. But they're expecting him to be gone for a number of games. And it's interesting because they also want him to take a big step this year. And they want him to have more on his plate, is what I've been told. And they know how good he can be in the underneath stuff. They know how good he can be yards after the catch. And that's why they went and got the two other guys that they did in Hollywood Brown and then drafting Xavier Worthy in the first round. It was the deep aspect of our passing game that they were known for in the front end of Patrick Mahomes' career, just being so brilliant with Tyreek Hill and those guys going downfield, hasn't been there. It just hasn't been there. They want these guys to go deep and they want to be able to add that part back into the offense. That's a big point of emphasis that I'm told in terms of this offseason. Well, both of those guys and how they can stretch the field, that just makes life easier for Rashee Rice, easier for Travis Kelce in the middle of the field to operate and work in space, because I think Rice is really good in finding those different spots to work in space in the middle of the field. But with Worthy, we know how talented he is. We know how fast he can run. What I want to see when we go to St. Joe, I'm not sure if your Winnebago is going to get to St. Joe. It's not really it's kind of off the beaten path to get up there, Kay. But if you do, just keep an eye on how Xavier Worthy's handling everything mentally, because we know he can play. But what Andy Reid does is he puts so much on receivers. It's one of the toughest training camps in all of football, if not the toughest. He has such a strong mental makeup. His football intelligence is through the roof. He can run for days. These are all the things that Andy Reid was told by Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian, just to say, hey, this is why you should take him. He fits the profile of what you want in a wide receiver. He's not Tyreek Hill, two different players in Andy Reid and Brett Veach's mind. But what he can do on a football field mentally, that's going to be the big part on how impactful Xavier Worthy is in the beginning part of this season.
It's so interesting because a lot of people say, oh, he'll just be the plug and play for Deshaun Jackson or Tyreek Hill. You're saying they're not the same player, but the one thing that everyone tells me, whether it's Hall of Famer Chris Carter or whoever, it is all about how slept on Tyreek Hill's intelligence is. How slept on his instinct. And so it seems like that's a common thread that they both have, going to help them with such a big offense.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It really is. Actually, that was an underrated aspect of Tyreek. Maybe also his ability to track a ball in the air. I have to say this story because once I asked him, because a lot of those balls were just thrown to space, right? And Tyreek was unbelievable at going and getting the football early in Mahomes' career. I was like, one time Tyreek was in the locker room and he's eating a thing of ice cream, soft served ice cream. And I'm like, dude, how do you track a ball so well? We're just sitting in his locker and he's like, kickball. I was like, what? He's like, I used to be the pitcher in kickball and I'd roll the ball and then backpedal to the middle of the field and then catch everything that was kicked in elementary school, middle school. He's like, kickball is how I learned how to track a football so well.
I think he'd beat your ass at darts.
He's a lefty too. Cause he'd be pretty good, I think.